All right, today we're tackling something we all do, but maybe don't appreciate nearly enough: sleep. And look, it's not some kind of luxury or a sign of weakness. It is a non negotiable biological necessity. And we're about to get into just how powerful, and I mean literally life saving, a good night's sleep really is. So let's just jump right in with a question that, hits close to home for a lot of us. What really happens to your body when you try to get by on, say, just 5 hours of sleep a night? The answer, well, it's not pretty. It might even be a little shocking. Okay, and to show you just how deep this goes, let's start with a pretty surprising fact about men's health. I'm not kidding here. The research shows that men who are only sleeping 5 hours a night have testicles that are significantly smaller than men who sleep 7 hours or more. Yeah, it's a jarring way to start, for sure, but it just goes to show you sleep loss hits us at our absolute biological core. And it's not just about size, it's about chemistry too. Get this, routinely sleeping just 4 or 5 hours a night will give a man the testosterone level of someone 10 years older than him. You heard that right. A lack of sleep is basically aging you by a decade, chemically speaking. It's like you're just hitting fast forward on your own body. All right, so that's a pretty dramatic physical effect, right? But believe me, what sleep deprivation does to your brain is just as bad, if not worse. So now, let's talk about how a lack of sleep completely sabotages your ability to learn and remember things. Basically, it just shuts down your brain's memory inbox. See, when it comes to memory, sleep plays two totally critical roles. First, you need sleep before you learn anything to get your brain ready. Think of it like a dry sponge ready to soak up all that new information. But then, you also need sleep after you learn, because that's what acts like the save button for those new memories. You skip either one of those steps, your learning is toast. And we know this because of a pretty, well, let's call it a brutal experiment. Researchers took a bunch of people and split them into two groups. The first group, they got a full 8 hours of glorious sleep. The other group, they got an all-nighter. Yep, kept awake all night long, no caffeine, no naps, nothing. Then, the next day, they put both groups inside an MRI scanner and tried to teach them a bunch of new stuff. The results were, frankly, staggering. The group that was sleep-deprived, they had a 40% deficit in their ability to form new memories. A 40% drop. I mean, let's put that in perspective for a second. That is the difference between acing an exam and failing it, miserably. So what's going on here? Why does this happen? Well, it all comes down to a part of your brain called the hippocampus. And you can think of the hippocampus as the informational inbox for your brain. Without sleep, that inbox is just full, it's shut down. Any new information that comes in, it just gets bounced. You literally can't create new memories. And listen, this isn't just about pulling one all-nighter for an exam. The long-term consequences are really, really serious. We now know that disrupting your deep sleep is one of the key factors in cognitive decline as we get older, and it's even been linked to the development of Alzheimer's disease. This is a huge deal. And the brain is just the beginning. The damage goes way beyond that. When you don't sleep, you're basically triggering a silent emergency throughout your entire body. It affects pretty much every system you've got. Want proof? Okay, how about a global experiment that happens twice a year involving 1.6 billion people? I'm talking about daylight saving time. In the spring, when we all lose just 1 hour of sleep, just one, hospitals see a 24% spike in heart attacks the very next day. That's not a coincidence. But what it does to your immune system, that might be the most shocking thing of all. You have these amazing immune cells called natural killer cells, and their job is basically to seek and destroy dangerous things, like cancer cells, okay? So after just one night of only 4 hours of sleep, the activity of those cells drops by 70%. 70. That is a state of immune deficiency. After one bad night, the link between poor sleep and cancer is now so strong, so undeniable, that the World Health Organization has actually classified any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. Think about that. Routinely sleeping too little is directly linked to an increased risk for cancer of the bowel, the prostate, and the breast. And it doesn't stop there. The damage goes all the way down to our DNA, to our genetic code. There was a study where they had people sleep just 6 hours a night for only 1 week. And after just that 1 week, the activity of over 700 of their genes was completely distorted. So, what does that mean exactly? Well, it's a double whammy. The genes that got switched off were the good ones, the ones that help our immune system. And the genes that got switched on, those were the bad guys, genes linked to promoting tumors, chronic inflammation, and stress. You are literally flipping your own genetic switches in the wrong direction. Okay, I know, that was a lot of bad news, and it's pretty alarming stuff. But here's the good news, this is fixable. We can actually do something about it. So let's switch gears and talk about some practical, simple things you can do to reclaim your night and get the sleep you need.
Let's start with 2 tips that are just incredibly effective. First one, regularity. This is non-negotiable. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, every day. Yes, even on weekends. It anchors your whole system. Tip number 2, keep it cool. Your body actually needs to drop its core temperature to fall asleep and stay asleep. So aim for a bedroom temperature around 18 degrees Celsius. That's about 65 Fahrenheit.
Okay, but what about those nights? You know the ones. You're just lying there in bed, tossing and turning, your mind is racing, you're staring at the ceiling. What are you supposed to do then? The advice here is actually the opposite of what most of us do. It's this: get up, get out of bed. Because if you just lie there awake, your brain starts to learn that your bed is a place for being awake and stressed out. You have to break that connection. So get up, go to another room, maybe read in dim light, and only come back to bed when you feel sleepy again. I love this analogy. You wouldn't sit at the dinner table waiting to get hungry, right? So don't just lie in bed waiting to get sleepy.
So after all this, what's the big takeaway? What's the final verdict? It's really this. We have to completely change the way we think about sleep.
It is not a luxury. It's not optional. It is a non-negotiable biological necessity. It's your life support system. And maybe, just maybe, it's Mother Nature's best shot so far at immortality. You know, we live in a culture that's always telling us to hustle more and sleep less. But the most powerful, radical thing you can do for your own health and preservation is to simply reclaim your right to a full night of sleep.